Just finished my short morning routine. Good morning. It's about 6:56 a.m. Usually I wake up around, I aim to wake up around 6 a.m. Last night I went to bed around 12:10 a.m. Usually I try to get in about minimally 6 to 8 hours of rest. Minimally 6. 8 is considered very good for me, but usually I go to bed around like 11. So averaging around 7 hours. Wake up feeling slightly tired. But for me, I think I can wake up kind of naturally. But in the morning when I feel a little bit tired, I think once I start getting up and brushing my teeth, drinking some water, I really check down probably like almost 500 ml of water once I wake up. Just getting the inflow of water first to start the day really kickstarts the engine. And then, as you saw, probably doing some light stretches, light movements. There's no particular sequence that I will force myself to do in the morning. It's just more of what I feel like doing and basically trying to be present with myself and my body and movements that are happening together with my breath and just do kind of like a free flow kind of sequence of what knowledge I have. Generally, I try and target the whole body as much as I can, working from the top of my body all the way to the bottom. So that's like the head, working on the neck, shoulders, stretching out the neck and the back muscles, the lower back, and then all the way down from the hamstrings, quads, the tibulas, calves, and a bit of the feet as well. Occasionally, I'll do breath work together in my session. I didn't do it today, but I can do it another day and let you see as well. And when I end before I sometimes before if I remember, because I usually wake up quite groggy. If I remember, I usually do like some Om chanting, and I really feel that helps to set in the day as well. Because when I feel the vibrations, I can feel it throughout my body if I'm really in the flow of the movement practice. And the breath work I do is usually the one that I alternate between the left and right nostrils. In short, for simple understanding of what I do for that breath work would be taking my thumb to press against your right nostril and then your fourth and your pinky finger to press against your left nostril. So the sequence would be you clear everything out first in terms of your lung capacity, your breath. And then you press onto your right nostril. You breathe in all the way. You open your right nostril, close your left nostril, and you breathe out through your right all the way until it's completely empty. And then you breathe in through your right again, all the way till your lungs are full. And then close the right nostril, open the left nostril, and breathe out through the left, all the way out. And you kind of repeat that cycle. For me, I do it usually for about 1 minute. I don't usually time myself. I do it until I feel like I'm done. I try not to set all these timers for myself, but more of just pay attention to my body. I know there are like scientific studies of like what's like the best kind of timings to work towards too, but I just use it as a gauge. I don't want to like limit myself or stress myself on like, oh, it has to be this certain number of minutes or a certain number of times. I know in spiritual practices as well that sometimes they say maybe you do for like 107 times in like certain kind of movements or practices for different kind of breath works. You can follow that. I think for me, when I first started my spiritual practice as well, or doing different kind of wellness modalities, I used to follow it. I mean, I still do, but in the mornings when I'm still groggy, I just do what I feel is right. And then when I'm more awake, then sometimes I'll do the counting as well. It's so totally up to you. Uh, at the end of the day, it makes me feel good, makes me feel more awake, like after a practice. And that's why I continue to do these morning routines for myself. And so far, I think the important thing to note is consistency is key because the more you do it, it's kind of like stacking layers of improvement. Or another way of putting it is, I know I use this a lot, but like going to the gym, right? You put in a number of reps, you hold yourself accountable on a weekly basis, do the number of workouts you are set out to do, and after like 3 months, you see improvement. It's kind of like the same thing in a way where, like, if you come in for the practice for yourself regularly, consistently, you definitely see or notice improvements for yourself or changes. And the great thing is that with these changes as well, you find more insights for yourself that relate to you, understanding yourself a little bit more. I started off doing these wellness practices probably about 6 years ago now. And I think it was like around 2008, year 2018, if I'm not wrong. I started off with Reiki. Yeah, I did Reiki first. I did that for about 3 months. Then I did Wim Hof breathing. And then I did Vipassana. And I'm not saying that, you know, you should like do all these things. For me as an individual, I'm personally very curious to explore all the different types of wellness practices out there because once I did Reiki, I felt a change in me. It's very hard to explain, but it's more on a level of like having that a sense of calmness after practicing for about 3 months. And then I wanted to, in a way, test my abilities of like performing Reiki by just volunteering my Reiki services to like at a temple. And it was like heartwarming to see and also very interesting to find out that it helps some elderly folks. And then I went on to Wim Hof breathing. That was the one that really allowed me to have kind of a breakthrough in terms of like being present with myself, being more self aware, and having this like burst of energy of feeling revitalized. I think Wim Hof breathing was the one that I think for a lot of people, there is like that first practice that they do or wellness practice that they do that has that sudden taste of the chocolate, if you will, where you experience something that is slightly profound to yourself. And you're like, oh wow, what did I just experience? And it clicked that, and to me, it clicked that it's essential to have a practice like that in your life. So for some people, maybe they have been doing like yoga or they go for like a yoga retreat, a Vipassana retreat, and then something clicked for them. They have a taste of that chocolate of like, whoa. And then it makes them realize like, oh, I should continue this practice. And for me, that happened in Wim Hof breathing. And that's what sparked me to continue exploring more as well into my spiritual journey, spiritual side and journey. But even like after having that breakthrough for myself, the tough part is actually integrating it into my daily life. Because sometimes when you come out from, for example, a yoga or Vipassana retreat, like after 10 days or a month, you come back into your daily lifestyle, and then suddenly you are in this vulnerable state or just like very you know when you go for this retreats, this very intense retreats, you come out and you feel like you just hit the reset button. So you need to have that time to kind of like transition in and integrate the practice into your daily life, and also have to do like some kind of like reflections for yourself on how to balance these two kind of areas of your life, right? You have your inner purpose to fulfill, and then you have your outer purpose to fulfill. So inner purpose, like being, I mean, everyone has an inner purpose. For me, to be able to work towards that inner purpose, how do I balance it out with my outer purpose, which is my work, family, friends, social environments, activities? How do you balance that with the inner purpose that you set for yourself or what you have discovered for yourself? But in general, the inner purpose is usually to find that liberation for yourself. But how do you get there is another thing, because everybody has like different journeys and different paths that's been that that is gonna be laid out for them. So all these things come to mind when I started my wellness path, my wellness journey, and it's been very fruitful and fulfilling so far. It's been up and down. It's never like a straight road where like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start my doing my meditations every day for a set number of hours or a time. I started out strong, then it went, when different occurrences happen in my life, like work related, for example, and then you hit um, situations where you have to work overtime, for example, and then you're like, oh, how do I balance this out with my my wellness practices, right? I can't spend more time, or if I were to spend the same number of time doing my wellness practice, on top of that, do my overtime work. How do I balance that? So you have to kind of like work out these kinks for yourself. Like, how are you going to adjust it? Are you going to leave your job? Are you going to reduce the number of wellness hours for yourself? That's something you have to discover for yourself. For me, in my perspective, it depends on your journey. I mean, it depends on your situation as well. Like, some people may not be in a situation where they can just leave their job, right? They have a lot of people maybe being dependent on. So it's something to work out. And for me, one of the areas that helped me a lot to discover this insight for myself is also to write it down. And that's where I have like my journal, which you'll see me just write in, that I spend about maybe, I don't know, on the timer, maybe it showed like 10 to 20 minutes. I try to get at least one page of entry in the morning every day. Um, and yeah, I think by doing this regularly, it helps you to find more insights for yourself because it's so powerful when you can write it down rather than just like ponder about it or think about it because the thoughts just come and go, isn't it? But when you write it down, sometimes you can go back, you can reflect on it. Sometimes I just watch, oh no, I just read it back again and then see if there's any kind of lessons that I forgot or any situations that happened previously that are similar to what's happening on the recent events, for example, and see how the pattern of my life is like. Because sometimes you fall into that habit or pattern where it produces kind of outcomes that are not ideal for yourself. And you might want to break those patterns to be able to achieve more of a positive outcome. And I think that's one of the hardest things to do because it's like breaking a habit, right? So I'll be doing more of this morning vlogs. And if you like to join in, just kind of like a morning practice, can even like just play this video in the morning sessions and hold yourself accountable to it if you like, just to come and check in, do a practice that you like. Maybe for you, like you have like a yoga sequence that you want to follow, or just do like a stretching sequence. You don't have to follow me exactly, but if you want to do it, go ahead. Um, but I just hope like videos like that can help you stay on track for showing up for yourself, not for me, for yourself, and being present with yourself. And if there's anything you want to chat about, there's always the comment space. You don't have to leave any comments down if you don't want to, but if you want to have a conversation or just want to ask certain questions about the wellness practices that I do, feel free to ask me and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks for joining me in this morning practice and conversation and sharing. I hope to get more streamlined in this and yeah, enjoy your day ahead.